Have you ever found yourself thinking about the things no one told you before? Those hard life lessons that, when we finally learn them, seem to arrive too late? Maybe you've been through situations where you thought, if I had known this before, everything would have been different. When it comes to understanding women and relationships, many men only realize certain truths after years of frustration, mistakes, and missed opportunities. How many times have you looked back, wondering why you acted one way or failed to act another? And how many times did that cost you a relationship or even your peace of mind? But you don't have to stay in this cycle. What I'm about to share here are truths that can transform the way you see women and relationships. Truths that, if you had known before, would have spared you so much suffering and doubt. It's not too late to learn, adjust course, and build more genuine and meaningful connections. So, get ready. From now on, I'll guide you through these fundamental lessons. By the end of this video, you won't be the same. Before we continue, hit the like button, and if you're new here, subscribe, because every week I bring high-value videos for you. Also, let me remind you, if you're struggling with procrastination and it's holding you back in life, click on the first pinned comment and download my ebook, Conquer Procrastination with Stoic Philosophy, the definitive guide to success. Click on the first pinned comment and start turning your life around today. Let's begin. Let's start by talking about stopping the chase and starting to attract. Have you ever stopped to think about how the idea of chasing something might actually push it further away from you? This is one of the great truths that many of us men learn too late in life. When we embark on a desperate quest for attention, affection, or acceptance, we're often heading in the opposite direction of what we truly desire. And do you know why? Because in the psychology of scarcity, whatever is always available loses its value. Imagine an object that you can have at any moment, effortlessly, without mystery. It doesn't seem so appealing, right? The same applies to relationships. When you chase after someone, you put the other person in a position of superiority, as if they were an unattainable prize. But here's the hard truth. High-value men don't chase, they attract. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you been in a relationship where you felt like you were always chasing, trying to please, win over, or even begging for attention? The truth is, when you chase, you put the other person on a pedestal. You send the message that their love and affection are more important than your own value. And this creates an imbalance, where the person who should be admiring you feels too comfortable, knowing that you'll always be there. Now, let me tell you something that perhaps no one has told you before. Women quickly notice when they are being chased, and this can create an emotional barrier. What many truly seek is someone who is secure in themselves, who has their own goals and passions, and who doesn't depend on their love to feel complete. Men who attract, instead of chasing, show that they have their own life, something interesting to offer, and that is incredibly attractive. Here's the big shift. Stop focusing on how to please the other person and start focusing on being the best version of yourself. When you invest in your personal growth, in your projects and passions, something changes in your energy. You stop chasing and start attracting. Because men who know what they want and have confidence in themselves don't need to beg for attention. They know they are the prize, and it's this confidence that makes all the difference. It's not about playing power games or intentionally creating distance. It's about being authentic, showing that you value your own life, and that the other person can be part of it, but is not the center of it. That is personal power. And do you know what's most interesting? When you become an authentic and confident person, you attract people who genuinely want to be with you, for who you are, not for what you do to win them over. Think about the healthiest and happiest relationships you know. You'll see that most of the time, these connections were born from mutual admiration, respect, and two people who have their own lives, but chose to walk together. There's no room for chasing here. There's room for attraction, for natural magnetism, and for a balance between giving and receiving. Now I invite you to reflect. Have you been attracting or chasing in your relationships? Have you been living to please the other? Or have you been developing yourself as someone worthy of admiration? If this concept resonates with you, write in the comments, I attract, I don't chase. By doing this, you're not only committing to this new vision of life, but also inspiring others to rethink how they are handling their relationships. Remember, in a healthy relationship, you don't need to chase after anyone. You just need to be yourself, at your best, and the right people will come. Love yourself first, and everything else falls into line, said Lucille Ball, and that's a truth we can't ignore. Now that we understand the importance of stopping the chase and starting to attract, there's another great truth that many men take time to realize. Appearance matters more than you think. Sometimes it's hard to accept, but first impressions are made in seconds, and what we show externally can deeply impact how we're perceived, especially in relationships. I'm not talking about unattainable beauty standards here, but something much more important: discipline and self-confidence reflected in your appearance. Have you ever heard the saying, "The first impression is the lasting one"? Well, as cliché as it may seem, it couldn't be truer, especially when it comes to relationships. And this doesn't mean you need to be a model or have a perfect physique, far from it. The point is how you take care of yourself. And that goes far beyond superficial aesthetics. When you present yourself to the world, your physical appearance conveys many messages before you even open your mouth. Your clothes, the way you groom your hair, your beard, your posture, all of this reveals how you feel about yourself. Men who take care of their appearance send a clear message. They have discipline, self-confidence, and above all, they value themselves. Appearance is the external reflection of your internal discipline. If you take care of your health, maintain good hygiene, and wear clothes that make you feel good, it shows that you respect yourself. And the truth is, people who respect themselves attract respect. In the context of relationships, this is no different. Men who value themselves naturally spark interest because it shows they have something to offer. I remember a quote from Aristotle that says, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Taking care of your physical appearance is one of those habits. When you commit to presenting yourself in the best possible way, you're practicing an act of self-love, and that doesn't go unnoticed. Now, let's think together. If you walked into a room and saw two people for the first time, one looking disheveled, with wrinkled clothes and an insecure posture, and the other well-groomed, with a firm and confident posture, which one would catch your attention more? The answer is obvious, and this isn't just about physical attraction, but about the energy the person exudes. Men who take care of their appearance project a message of stability, confidence, and yes, natural attraction. When a woman sees you for the first time, she won't immediately have access to your character or intellect. She will first notice what's visible, your appearance, and this isn't superficial. It's a natural human reaction. We are programmed to respond to visual stimuli, and the way you present yourself can open or close doors before a single word is spoken. Now you might be wondering, but is appearance really that important? The answer is yes, but not in the way you might think. It's not about having a gym body or wearing the most expensive clothes. It's about taking care of yourself, and that goes beyond the physical. It's about showing the world and yourself that you value yourself enough to invest in your health, your image, and your self-confidence. And the best part, this generates attraction. So how do you start? Small steps make a big difference. Invest in good nights of sleep, exercise regularly, maintain your hygiene, and choose clothes that make you feel good. It doesn't need to be extreme, but it does need to be consistent. When you adopt this habit, you're not just changing how others see you, but also how you see yourself. And that internal shift is noticed by everyone around you. Remember, taking care of your appearance is not an act of vanity, but of self-respect. When you show this discipline and self-confidence externally, it echoes into all areas of your life, including your relationships. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself, said Coco Chanel. And that applies to men too. When you choose to take care of yourself, you're showing the world that you value yourself. And that's a powerful message that naturally attracts people toward you. Now I'm going to ask you something. Stop for a moment and reflect. How have you been presenting yourself to the world? Is your appearance conveying what you want? Is it reflecting the confident and disciplined person you truly are? If this reflection resonated with you, share in the comments. I take care of myself because I value myself. By writing this, you're committing not just to your appearance, but to your self-esteem. Believe me, your appearance is a reflection of the respect you have for yourself, and there's nothing more attractive than that. Remember, appearance matters more than you think, because it's the first step in showing the world the value you already carry within you. Attraction begins with self-confidence, and self-confidence starts when you look in the mirror and see a person you're proud of. Taking care of yourself is the first step to attracting what you truly deserve. Before moving on to the next topic, if you're enjoying the theme, I kindly ask you to leave a like to motivate me to keep bringing more videos like this in the future. And don't forget to check out my ebook, Overcome Procrastination, with Stoic philosophy, the ultimate guide to success. Let's continue. We've already talked about the importance of attracting rather than chasing, and how taking care of your appearance reflects the respect you have for yourself. But now comes one of the hardest truths to accept. Being too nice doesn't work. And if you've ever been in a situation where, despite all your efforts to please, you felt like you were being ignored or undervalued, this story will resonate with you. I remember a conversation I had with a friend, Ricardo. He was in the middle of a relationship crisis, frustrated that despite all his efforts to be the perfect guy, nothing seemed to work. He was always kind, avoided conflicts at all costs, and did everything he could to keep his girlfriend happy. But somehow, this only made him feel more distant from her. "Man, I don't get it," he once told me. "I'm always the most understanding. I do everything to please her. But it seems like she's pulling away more and more. What am I doing wrong?" Ricardo was making a very common mistake. He was being too nice, and this, instead of building attraction, created an invisible barrier between him and his partner. Why does this happen? Because deep down, being overly compliant is seen as weakness. When you're always willing to give in, avoid conflicts, and please, you're not showing confidence or strength. You're actually giving up your dignity in exchange for approval. The truth is, no one admires someone who always says yes. Think about it for a moment. The people you remember most, those you respect and admire, aren't the ones who pleased you all the time. They are the ones who, while being kind, kept their boundaries clear. High-value men don't seek constant approval from others. They are kind, yes, but they are also firm when they need to be. In Ricardo's story, he thought that always being nice and avoiding any kind of conflict would be the way to maintain a healthy relationship. But what he was really doing was giving up who he was to mold himself to what he thought his partner wanted. And this, in the long run, wears down any relationship, because deep down, it's not about being a perfect man. It's about being authentic, with your virtues, and also with your flaws. I'm reminded of a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche: "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Applying this to relationships, it means that sometimes small conflicts and arguments are necessary for both people to grow and strengthen together. Men of value know when to be kind, but they also know when to set boundaries. Once, Ricardo told me that in an argument with his girlfriend, he just kept quiet, agreeing with everything she said, even though deep down he knew she was wrong. He thought that by avoiding the fight, he was maintaining peace, but what he was really doing was undermining her respect for him. Because when you avoid expressing your feelings or disagreeing with someone to please them, you're showing that you don't value your own opinion. And here's the lesson. Women don't want men who say yes to everything. They want men who have their own opinions and who know how to stand their ground, but with respect. This doesn't mean being rude or arrogant. It means being confident enough to know when something isn't right and having the courage to speak up. Because in the end, mutual respect is born out of those moments. I told Ricardo that he needed to stop constantly seeking his girlfriend's approval and start being more honest with himself. He needed to stop being the nice guy who agreed with everything, even when it hurt him. And you know what happened after he changed his approach? He started setting clear boundaries, being more assertive, but without losing his kindness. And instead of pushing his girlfriend away, it strengthened the relationship because she began to truly respect him. High-value men are kind, yes, but they are also firm in their boundaries. They aren't afraid to say no when necessary, because they understand that by doing so, they are protecting their own integrity. Being too nice doesn't work, because deep down, no one admires someone who is always willing to sacrifice their own values to please others. What truly attracts is the combination of kindness with firmness, of respect for others with respect for oneself. Now, I ask you, how many times have you been too nice in your relationships? How many times have you given in, even though you knew it was hurting you, just to avoid an argument or to please the other person? If you've been through this and want to change, leave a comment. I am kind, but firm. Because when you declare this, you are making a new commitment to yourself, to be authentic, to value yourself as much as you value the other person. And don't be mistaken, being firm doesn't mean being harsh or aggressive. It means knowing who you are and not being afraid to show it. Men who understand this are the ones who truly build healthy relationships based on mutual respect and admiration. Stop being too nice and start being the truest version of yourself. While we discuss how being overly nice can harm your relationships, another truth that many men learn too late is that money and status speak volumes. This doesn't mean that all women are materialistic or only care about your bank account. In fact, the attraction to status and financial security is something much deeper, rooted in human nature, primarily due to the instinctive search for stability. I remember an episode that happened with my friend Gabriel. He had just come out of a relationship that left him frustrated, feeling that even though he was a nice and dedicated guy, something seemed to be missing. He would often hear his girlfriend mention concerns about the future, stability, and security. At first, he thought it was exaggerated. After all, he was doing his best to be a good partner. But what he didn't realize was that for her, it wasn't just about affection or emotional attention, but also about future security. Our brains, over millennia, have been wired to seek stability, and this applies to both men and women. But for women, there's a primary instinct that seeks to ensure that, in the future, there is a secure foundation, both emotionally and materially, to build a life. And this has nothing to do with superficiality. It's a matter of survival, ensuring that the potential challenges of life can be faced with the confidence that there will be support and structure. Gabriel, like many others, took a while to understand this dynamic. He worked in a job that didn't offer many growth opportunities, and even though he was extremely competent, he never really worried about the idea of social advancement. For him, the important thing was to live in the present without worrying too much about financial matters. And in fact, for many men, the pressure for status and money can seem like a futile pursuit, something that only inflates the ego. But when we talk about relationships, money and status represent much more than material goods. During a conversation, his ex-girlfriend explained, quite sincerely, that what worried her the most wasn't the lack of affection, but the absence of a plan, of a vision for the future. She wanted to feel secure that in the long run, they would have a stable life, that they could plan trips, a home, children, essentially a solid future. For her, this security was essential, and Gabriel, without realizing it, was neglecting that aspect. He finally understood that it wasn't just about the present, but about what he could build for the future. Women, in their essence, seek stability not because they are superficial, but because the instinct for survival and protection is deeply ingrained. This means that men who have ambition, who care about growing and becoming financially stable, naturally become more attractive. Wealth consists much more in enjoyment than in possession, said Aristotle. And when it comes to relationships, the true value of money lies in the peace of mind and the possibilities it offers for a life together. Gabriel began to see this in a new light. He realized that status and money aren't just about flaunting power or success, but about offering security to those you love. When he began to invest more in his career, it wasn't just to earn more money, but to create a solid future. He saw that by building a stable financial base, he was also creating a safe space for a relationship to flourish. And this is one of the hardest lessons for many men. It's not about being rich or showing off material achievements, but about showing that you have the ability to create a stable and promising life. Women, instinctively, are attracted to this because they want to feel secure in a relationship, and this security isn't limited to the emotional. It involves the peace of mind of knowing that in difficult moments, there will be a structure to lean on. Think of great leaders or prominent figures in society. What do they have in common, besides charisma and confidence? They have a position of respect, which is often the result of their work, discipline, and continuous pursuit of improvement. Status, in the end, is an external representation of your value and what you've built over time. It's not about being seen as superior, but about showing that you are capable of achieving your goals and providing stability. If you have ambitions, if you're working to grow and improve yourself, know that this is extremely attractive, not just because of the financial aspect, but because it demonstrates discipline, a vision for the future, and above all, responsibility. Men with this mindset send a clear message. They aren't just living in the present, but they are also building something for the future. And if you still have doubts about the importance of this, stop and reflect. What kind of life do you want to build for yourself and for those by your side? Are you prepared to offer emotional and material security? If this reflection touched you, write in the comments, "I build my future with responsibility." By declaring this, you reaffirm your commitment not only to yourself, but to those who share your journey. Remember, money and status speak loudly because they represent security, stability, and responsibility. And these are qualities that naturally attract not only women, but everyone around you. The true wealth lies in who you become during this journey. I remember a phase in my life when this truth about money and status really started to make sense to me. At the time, I thought that as long as I was a good partner, attentive, caring, and present, that would be enough to maintain a healthy relationship. But, like many of us, I learned the hard way that the real world demands much more than just good intentions. I was dating someone incredible, a person I deeply admired. Everything seemed to be going well until, over time, I began to notice small signs of dissatisfaction. It wasn't anything explicit, but I noticed that she frequently mentioned the future, plans, and stability. At first, I didn't understand. Why are we talking about stability now? We're fine. We have love, isn't that enough? I thought. But the truth is, unconsciously, I was avoiding facing an important aspect of life: financial security and social status, not in the sense of being obsessed with money, but having a clear vision of how to build a stable future. I was stuck in a job that didn't challenge me, with no big growth plans, just living in the present. And while that seemed enough for me, for her, and for many women, it wasn't. It was during one of those conversations that everything became clear. I remember her telling me, "I love you, but sometimes I worry about our future. I'm not sure if you're really thinking about what our life will be like in a few years." That hit me hard, not because I felt pressured, but because I realized that deep down, I was also ignoring an essential part of myself: my ambition, my need for growth, and my desire to feel fulfilled. That's when I understood that, for many women, the desire for security has nothing to do with materialism. It's a biological need, an instinctive search for stability and protection. And this isn't superficial. It's simply how the human brain has evolved over millennia. Money and status aren't just symbols of power, but tangible representations that you can offer security, that there's a future to rely on. I started to reflect deeply on my life. I realized that I wasn't just neglecting my relationship, but also my personal growth. I had become complacent, and although the love was real, it wasn't enough to ensure a stable future. What I learned is that, as hard as it is to accept, money and status speak loudly, not because they are the only factor in a relationship, but because they form the foundation that supports everything we build together. I remember talking to her afterward and explaining that I was starting to see things differently, that I understood the value of planning for the future and working to offer more than just love, but also security. And you know what happened? It wasn't just the relationship that improved. My self-esteem changed completely. I began to feel more confident, more in control of my life, and this internal change was noticed by everyone around me. Money and status aren't just about material goods. They represent discipline, ambition, and the ability to create something that lasts. True attraction isn't about how much you have, but what you can build. When you take responsibility for your future, it reflects in all aspects of your life, including relationships. So today, I tell you with absolute certainty, what I've learned is that when you commit to building something solid, life gives back twice as much, not just financially, but in terms of respect, admiration, and genuine love. Because in the end, we all want to be with someone who makes us feel secure, both emotionally and materially. Now I ask you, are you seriously thinking about your future? Are you building something that can offer stability for you and the ones you love? If so, write in the comments, "I build my future with responsibility." By doing this, you are reaffirming your commitment to yourself and those around you. Believe me, money and status speak loudly, not for the wealth itself, but for what they represent: the ability to create a life worth sharing. One of the most important truths, which many men underestimate, is the impact of uncontrolled emotions on relationships. Men who cannot maintain emotional stability are seen as unreliable, and this perception can end up pushing away someone who might have stayed by your side. The reason is simple. When your emotions dominate your actions, you lose control of who you are. Outbursts of anger, jealousy, or insecurity create an atmosphere of instability, something that undermines the trust your partner has in you. Women seek emotional security, and this security comes from your ability to control your reactions, especially in the most challenging moments. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring them, but rather understanding them and responding in a mature and balanced way. Emotionally stable men show that they are capable of dealing with life's ups and downs without letting these moments dominate them. And this is one of the most attractive qualities in any person: the ability to remain calm and composed, even under pressure. When you show that you can face your emotions maturely, Your partner trusts you more. She feels she can rely on you, not just in good times, but also in the toughest moments. And it's in this emotional balance that trust strengthens. Now, pause for a moment and reflect. How have you been dealing with your emotions in your relationships? Are you able to stay in control, or do you find yourself being dominated by them? If this topic made you think, write in the comments, "I control my emotions," not the other way around. Sharing this is more than just a phrase. It's a commitment to your own evolution. Writing this affirmation in the comments is a concrete step toward transforming your emotions into a tool for strengthening instead of an obstacle in your relationships. Remember, emotional control is the foundation of trust, and without trust, any relationship weakens. Showing that you have this inner strength is essential to maintaining and building a solid relationship. Now that we understand how uncontrolled emotions can push people away, let's talk about something even deeper. Inner strength. The way you face challenges, your attitudes, and your resilience shape not only your life, but also how you are seen by those around you, especially by those who share their life with you. Weakness, whether emotional, mental, or of character, has the power to kill desire in a relationship. I'm not talking about never allowing yourself moments of vulnerability. We all have tough days. What really matters is how you handle those moments. High-value men are those who face adversity with courage, learn from their mistakes, and move forward stronger than before. Think about it. When you are resilient, you convey confidence. You become someone your partner can trust, someone she can count on, even in the most difficult times. Strength in this sense is not just physical. It's in your ability to make firm decisions, to stay calm amidst chaos, and to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. When you show excessive weakness or constant insecurity, the effect is devastating for attraction. Women, like all of us, seek security, emotional and mental, and that comes from being with someone who knows how to get back up, even after falling. When you show that you're in control, that you can handle what life throws your way, it generates genuine admiration and consequently keeps desire alive. You don't need to be perfect. Life is full of challenges that test us daily, but what defines who we are is how we respond to these challenges. Being a man of purpose and confidence means facing life head-on, with the certainty that you will find a way, no matter how difficult the path. This is true strength, the kind that inspires respect, admiration, and desire. The strength you show in your toughest moments is what creates a bond of trust and admiration in the relationship. That strength doesn't mean never feeling fear or uncertainty, but rather being able to move forward even when those feelings arise. It's this resilience that makes you attractive, sets you apart, and keeps desire alive. Remember, true attraction isn't built in moments of ease, but in the challenges overcome together. The stronger you become internally, the more solid your relationship will be. Now that we've explored these truths, you hold powerful tools to become the best version of yourself. Whether attracting instead of chasing, taking care of your appearance and maintaining emotional confidence, or showing strength and resilience, all these attitudes transform you into someone of high value. The journey to becoming a confident and resilient man doesn't happen overnight, but each step brings you closer to who you truly want to be. It's not about pleasing others, but about developing true self-confidence that will inspire those around you. In the end, it's this inner strength that creates lasting and genuine connections. Now I invite you to take a practical step. Write confidence in the comments. By doing so, you reaffirm your commitment to yourself, and this simple action can be the beginning of a great change. When we put something into words, we're declaring our intention to the world, and that holds power. And of course, if this content resonated with you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss any of the upcoming content that will help you continue on this journey of growth and evolution. Share with friends who can also benefit from these reflections, and together, we can build a community of men striving to be their best version. We're in this journey together, and believe me, the best is yet to come. See you in the next video.